A great salesperson is all about development. They're looking at a sale from icebreaker all the way up to closed out and follow up. They're looking to develop. Look at it like it's one big circle. And then when they get back to the follow up, hey, is it possible that you know somebody that might be able to use my services? You'll never find a better lead than somebody you've already worked with who's given you a 5 out of 5 in your performance. You won't. It's impossible. If you're new to sales, start thinking this way. I'm going to gain experience. I will get better. I have to categorize my people. So when I start talking to someone, I might absolutely love this person and be like, oh man, I want to sell them something. I'm going to stay with them. If they're not there to buy, or you've got them on the wrong product, you're not going to win a sale. And somebody else might walk through that is there to buy and that is going to buy a product and would happily buy it from you. A mistake a lot of salespeople make is they get into the personal mode and they forget that they are not paid to just talk all day. They're paid to try to move product. Now, one of the number one things if you're in sales that you need to be doing is, first off, find a place you're comfortable with. You're comfortable with the management. You're comfortable with the ownership. You like the service that the product offers. But most importantly, you would buy the product. If you're sitting on something that you feel the product is way overpriced or the quality is not worth what you're paying, you're going to have a harder time selling something. You have to have passion, and that passion has to radiate in your conversation with the client. If it doesn't, you're not selling it. So the most important decision, if you want to get into sales, the most important decision you make before you ever step onto a lot, a showroom, into somebody's home, is check the product, make sure it's something you personally would purchase and be proud to own. Period. And then after that, how's the service on the other end of things? Are they going to repair things that they need to? Are they good at taking care of clients? So I'm not going to be sitting here after the fact uncomfortable with that conversation of what if something goes wrong. Beyond that, if you're selling stuff, you're not in service. Some places will have you in that, but your job is to make somebody feel as confident, if not more confident than you in their purchase. When you do that, you slot them into the right price, the right product fits all their needs, they're gonna buy it. As a new salesperson, what I would suggest anybody to do, remember, first off, you're gonna walk onto a sales floor and there's going to be a guy selling X amount of the item per month. It's impressive. You're like, wow, I'd love to get to there. That guy had to do a lot of stuff to get there. That gal had to do a lot of things to earn her stripes to be that good. And you can get there easily. Thing one, get a journal. Write down your sales. Write down what you did right. Write down what you did wrong. Spend time developing your approach. I promise you, 30 years later, in a sales career, you are still going to be tweaking things. You'll pick up something when you're going to buy furniture somewhere that you wish you would have known 20 years before. That's the beautiful thing about everything, is you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to go out and educate yourself further. And whenever somebody stops trying to improve or stops educating themselves, or they believe that they are literally the best in the business, that's the second they get passed by everybody else. And then two things happen. Either they get that big cold glass of water dumped over the top of their head and they wake up and they start getting after it again, or they fade away. You see it in every company out there, no matter what. There's always that guy who used to be this, who used to be that. Man, I don't know what happened. 7 years, that was our lead salesman. Now all of a sudden it's this guy over here, it's that gal over there. What happened is that person got overconfident in their abilities, and either one of two things happened. Either the product changed, and they didn't change with the product, or the client changed, and they didn't change with the client. And what I mean by that is maybe all of a sudden you're using CRMs. If you have the opportunity to use one, use one. Even if your company does not have access to a customer retention management software, HubSpot is free. You need to be using it because you can put every one of your customers in there. It's going to remind you when the last time you talked to somebody was. You can send your emails through it, see if somebody opened those emails. It's worth its weight in gold. You might think, oh, well, I can just write it down in a book. Sure you can. And that might feel effective, but it's not going to be anything close to what you can do with a CRM, I promise you. If you're new at sales, thing one, be comfortable selling things. It blows my mind how much salespeople get a bad rap. Almost everything you own at some point had to be sold. It doesn't matter what it is. And when somebody comes out, oh man, a salesperson. Yeah, get over it, man. Get over it. Sales has the lowest floor and the highest ceiling of earning potential. When you love a product you sell, you make a lot of money when you sell it. When you love what you do, you don't think about the career you have. Think about that. People look at realtors, they go, oh man, a realtor. They're a salesperson. They're selling houses, man. They have a great commission structure. So don't be shy of going out and getting after that. You can go, if you're good with people and you're willing to learn and you're willing to develop and you're willing to continue through with the career, you can earn more in sales than you can in any other thing out there. I'll never forget, a buddy of mine had me go to this pyramid scheme kind of deal. And we're all sitting there and they're talking about how, oh, you bring these 10 people in, and then whenever they bring people in, you earn from that and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh man, sure looks like a pyramid scheme, which it was, by the way. Nobody ever wound up making any money except the people at the top. But they're talking about how easy it is. Oh man, if you want to make $100,000 a year, $200,000, you can do it here. It's easy. I was sitting up towards the front. There was this guy named Chuck. He was the one who was talking. Amazing salesperson, by the way. He would have to be to sell that kind of stuff to people. And he's sitting here. He points at me. He goes, what are you going to do in the future? And proudly, I stand up. I say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell. I'm going to be a salesman. He starts laughing, and so does half of the room. And I asked him, I said, what do you find so funny about that? He said, you'll never make any money in sales. So I asked him, I say, okay, do you make a lot of money doing this? Of course I do. Well, what are you doing? You're selling people on the system. You are in sales. Well, this is very different than sales, isn't it? No, man, it's the exact same. And this guy's sitting there, man, he's trying to get nurses in the room to stop with their careers. He's trying to get people who are in college and they're trying to learn, how to become an attorney or a doctor. He's trying to get them to stop their careers, take the easy path. Every single person in that room that dedicated themselves to that cause got nowhere. Nothing is easy. But one of the most rewarding careers you can have is going to be sales. Line it up with a great product and a company that will stand behind that product, and I promise you, you will win. There are plenty of people who are meek and uncomfortable around people. They're probably not going to do sales. Not everybody's supposed to be a salesperson. It's not an easy job until you gain that experience. And once you do, and you're doing what you normally do, it feels like it doesn't even feel like you're working. You're just talking to people. You're identifying that somebody is there to buy. You're putting them on the right product again and again and again. And you're winning. And then after a while, you're going, man, this isn't even hard. People are looking at me and wondering how I'm so good at this. Well, keep developing. Because the second that you sit there and you think, people are wondering how I'm so good at this, man, I'm doing awesome. That's the second that you wound up getting struck down. The game changes. The market changes. Clients change. The product changes. Maybe you're selling for a company and all of a sudden the product totally falls off the map for quality. What are you going to do about that? If you want to be a great salesperson, you can make more money than anyone you know. You got to keep your eye on the ball. And the important thing is, if you're looking for financial reward in sales, go somewhere where you have no ceiling. I understand the commission sounds scary, but when somebody comes up and they say, hey, I'm going to give you $50,000 a year to sell stuff. Awesome. Man, that sounds great. And then you look down the road, hey, we'll give you $20,000 a year plus commission. People stare at that $20,000 and they turn their nose up to it until they realize a very good salesperson makes an extra 60 and pulls 80 home for their family a year. A best in the industry salesperson pulls in an extra 90 and brings $110,000 home for their family. And you looked at that job like, I don't know, man. I don't think they're offering enough. A good sales manager is going to see it in your eyes. When they talk about salary and you start winching, you start falling apart, they're going to know you're not a salesperson. They're going to know you're not right for the job. When somebody sits here and says, hey, you get 25% of the product profit, now you got my attention. Because I see your sales board. I see that there's 25 of this item being sold per month by the greatest guy in this whole entire company. And he's probably pulling in $4,000 on a big sale, $500 of profit on a smaller one. The earning potential is limitless at that point. And then think about where you can go from there. Totally possible to get to the end of a sales career and go, I don't want to sell anymore. Coach, man. Get into management. Sales is a phenomenal feeder for management. And if you're thinking about going to college for sales, don't. It is a waste of time and money. The same for management. There are plenty of companies where the barrier for entry is you have to have a degree. Personally, I think that's ridiculous. Unless you're in something like medical, legal, there are other things too. I mean like financial. Unless you're in something where, yeah, you need to go and you need to get certifications. You know, an RN, a doctor, a lawyer. I don't even honestly believe that teachers should have to go to college. That sounds crazy. Maybe it is. But when companies are telling you you have to have a degree to get a job, they're not looking at you as a person. They're looking at you as a number. They're thinking of you as a product. Well, if you got his degree, who cares? Who cares if I have a degree? What if I'm a better salesperson than anyone on the floor? While they were spending 4 years going off and getting hammered at school and just scraping by on tests, I was doing the job. And you're telling me you really want to flip a gig to somebody you don't even know? Just because of that, because of a piece of paper. You can get that piece of paper and be horrible at that job. You're able to pass the test, but you don't have the personality for it. Sales is great. If you are of legal age to work, you can get a job in sales. Starting out, you have to journalize all your clients. If you're using HubSpot, and I would suggest you do it, it's free. Every client you have, you can put notes down. Every client. You can go in there, how did I do? What kind of person was this? It is important to document that stuff. Were they more of the engineer type? Were they more of the emotional buyer? What were they? Sit there and think, what kind of strategy do I need to use to get this person into our camp? They're buying somewhere. You want it to be you or somewhere else. And be confident in that. I don't want you going down the road and buying from somebody else just because they're more into the job or just because they're going to sit here and press all the buttons. I don't know if they're going to do a good job for you. I know I will. Sales is about adequately taking up somebody's time. You're there to close it. When you say, hi, my name's Tom, and you shake their hand, that's not the right time to close them. It's you're starting to at that point. Remember, everything you do revolves around that. Every intention you have when you're doing your job, when you're doing what you're paid for, everything you do is focused on developing a sale. You're not paid to come in and run a CNC machine. Everything you do when you're running a CNC machine should be focused on that. You're not paid to come in and transcribe something that people are saying, right? Think about that. Any job you have, you're focusing your time on what that career is and doing a damn good job at it. Sales is the exact same. If somebody comes through the door and they're wasting your time or they're not really interested in buying anything, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I appreciate you coming in. Let me get you some pamphlets on product. If you ever have any questions, here's my card. Give me a call. If they say, well, what, you don't want to talk to me? I'll say, oh, I'm on the clock. You know? Look, if somebody gets offended by you saying, I've got to be doing my job, you know, you came into my work, and obviously you don't put it that direct. Remember, be diplomatic always. Always be diplomatic. If somebody gets offended by you saying, I've got to get back to my job, then just tell them, hey, I might have read you wrong. I kind of felt like maybe you were in more on a fact-finding mission. and not really interested in purchasing something, they have me in here to be able to sell things. I'm more than happy to give you all the information you need to take with you to come back when you're seriously interested in buying them. If somebody gets mad at that, let's say they tell you that they're a machinist, right? Can I come in when you're machining something and start talking to you about machining? Can I come in when you are a mechanic and you're working on a car and pull you off that car for an hour and just talk to you? Of course I can't. You're going to look at me like I'm nuts for trying to do something like that. You're going to say, hey man, I'm trying to work here. I don't want to get in trouble with my boss. I am just trying to do my thing. I got to get back to it. If you didn't say that, you wouldn't be a good employee. You wouldn't be worth paying. Same thing goes for sales. Now, what are we qualifying when it comes down to a client? Thing one, are you here to buy? Are you fact-finding so that you can purchase in the future? Are you wasting my time? Are you maybe a mystery shopper for the company? What's your purpose coming here today? That's thing one, because you know how long you're going to be with this person within the first 10 minutes. If you're thinking, okay, this guy came in here to find out more about product, or it looks like a competitor sent this person in. If you've got that vibe, it looks like a competitor sent this person in, go ahead and just cut it. Like, hey, I appreciate you coming in. I've got some things I've got to get back to. If you have any questions, here's my card. Nothing wrong with that. Let's say that somebody's in kicking tires. Those people can turn into buyers. They can absolutely come in a year later, a month later, 3 years, whatever, and buy something. The other valuable thing with these people is that you might be able to get leads from them. Let's say someone's sitting here and you're like, oh man, this guy's kicking tires, he's wasting my time. And you go, hey, do you know anyone else who's looking to buy right now? Well, yeah, my neighbor actually, he's the reason why I'm coming out. He's in the middle of looking at a company on the other side of town. What if you brought him in? Are you thinking about buying? What if you brought him in and you both got 10% off? Do you have any idea what you just did there? And it's not just about I sold you and I sold your neighbor. It's about how many other people do these people know. A great salesperson focuses on that. A great salesperson makes a relationship out of nothing with somebody too. Maybe every now and again you call someone and say, hey, I noticed it was your wife's birthday. I wanted to give you a buzz and wish her, a happy birthday here. Or, hey, I noticed that it was you and your wife's anniversary. I wanted to reach out to you guys and wish you a happy anniversary. The great thing is text messages make that easy. And they might go, hey, awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you remembering that. That's all in your CRM, by the way. It pops up Ann Smith's birthday. It pops up Steve and Jenny Jones' anniversary, whatever it would be. Sweet. I know what I'm doing first thing. And here's why all that's important. Because you don't want to be the guy who's waiting for somebody to walk through the door. At the beginning of your career, that's exactly who you're going to be. But when you hear people say, oh, you got to make something happen, there it is. It used to be you'd have to write all that stuff down. You go through calendars. It was way harder. Now developing sales is way easier with that. And don't send these automated messages either. Right? Don't make it too easy on yourself. When you're sending something that looks like you're just copying and pasting names, it comes across as pretty obvious. But when you're starting out as a salesperson, the first thing you need to do is focus on developing your approach, writing down clients, studying like crazy, gaining your experience. These things will bring you into a good spot. Start out like that. Add small things. One of my favorite strategies that I use on the regular with every customer, it does not matter how good it is going, I will take a break at some point. Even if it's just 5 minutes. Even if it's just 30 seconds. Hey, I'm going to go grab some water. Do you want some? Hey, I need to hit the restroom real quick. Do you mind? You know what? There's something I was thinking about. I got to hit my desk real quick and scout it out. Would you like a water? Would you like coffee? Bear in mind, free things like coffee and water, they help. It's a subliminal thing in people's minds. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just a water or a coffee, something free, but you're giving somebody something. goes a long way. Take a break. What are you doing on the break? You're assessing what's up. How's it going with this customer? Am I right on the product I have them? Am I right on the kind of person they are? Where are we sitting here? And then when you come back, you're rejuvenated. You have a better strategy. That break, even if you do it 2-3 times, don't do it too often to where you feel that people are starting to pry away from you. But don't be afraid to take a few of those over the course of a few hours. That'll develop your sale almost more than any bit of information I could ever give you. Just the ability to stay on the ball there. Am I missing any cues? I'm requalifying the person. I'm sitting here and do I believe that they were being serious about buying when they said they were serious about buying? So simple. Every single person who is starting out in sales, this is your day one. Every person who starts in sales, I'm telling you to do this. If I gave you 2 tools, tool 1, write everything down. Tool 2, take breaks. Even when you're in forever and you've been doing the job for 30 years and oh man, I don't need to do this anymore. Yeah, you do. Don't be dumb, man. Yes, you do. You do these things, you will improve. And then come back to it. Come back and take a look at what you did and say, hey, okay, this customer didn't buy when they were in, but here's my strategy for them. What am I doing at 9 a.m. when I'm in? And I'm starting off with my first cup of coffee. What am I doing with this person? Because if you come in to talk to me, I'm not wasting my time and letting you fall off the radar here. The other valuable thing of a CRM, like HubSpot, when you send an email through that, you can see when somebody reads it. So you're sitting here, oh man, they're not responding. You can develop a strategy to get them in. Hey, got some exciting news for you. Give me a buzz when you can. That one's really simple. It's old as dirt, but it does work. Hey, just checking in. Doesn't matter if you're interested or not. I just want to make sure that I'm not wasting your time or mine. Please give me a buzz. Hey, I like to keep in touch with my clients to make sure my service is where it's supposed to be. And I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Just want to check in, see how things are going. Only at the end, when they are not responding, do I throw out that I can see when they read my stuff. And remember, remain diplomatic. Don't come out, hey, you're reading it, what's wrong with you? Come out and say, hey, I noticed you had the opportunity to read my email last time. What'd you think of it? Boom! And if the next 2 emails you send, they don't even open, don't waste your time. Only go so far. And when it comes down to clients you've already worked with, qualify them. Put them into patterns. Red hot purchase. That's somebody who's buying this week, maybe even today. I'm on them or I lose them. They came to me. Do not forget that. You want to be a great salesperson. They came to you looking to buy something. If you qualified them appropriately, the only person whose time you are wasting by contacting them isn't even in the room. They have no right to be mad at you. They came into your work on your employer's dime. Do something right here. Here's the other part. When you're focused on from point A, from hello, my name is, all the way until thank you for your purchase. I really appreciate it. When you are focused on that, you are thinking about developing that sale all the way around. The last thing you do is let that person leave when you feel like you can take up a little bit more of their time. You are focused on closing. It may feel like the right thing to do. Well, I want to go think about it. You have to develop counter arguments. This is another reason it's so important to write down what you're running into. Because when you go back and you look at your week by week development, in a journal, this isn't a HubSpot thing, this is in a journal. You're writing down what you're having a hard time with, what you're succeeding and you need to do more of. And you come back and you go, man, I had 10, 15 people that said, I don't know, I need to think about it. And I had them down as red hot. Then you can go and look at counter arguments. A bad counter argument would be, well, what's to think about? Bad counter argument. Comes across like you don't care and the only thing you're focusing on is selling them something. Which of course you are. No questions asked, you're focusing on selling them something. But you got to remember, people are ridiculous when it comes down to salespeople. They think, oh yeah, you're just here to sell me something. No, you're just here to buy something, man. You came into my shop. What do you want me to do? Walk away without feeding my family? Come on. So get out of your head that idea that I'm a salesperson. Oh, people think that we're scummy. Who cares? You got a job to do. Who cares? If you can't get past that people might have that stereotypical salesy kind of thing in their head, you need to change careers. If you can't get past the idea that there are going to be people who look at you like you are just a cardboard box that spits out product, and that look at you like you're slimy because you're trying to sell something, you need to quit today. Because the fact of the matter is, that's not true. Your job, very simple, is to sell product that the company makes or that the company stores. No more, no less. As you're going back, you might see that you have those little things. Oh man, I had like 10 people tell me that they wanted to speak to somebody. I'm not going to give you every last strategy in this video. I probably will in others. I'm going to go through certain things that people run into and wrestle with, so feel free to comment below. But research responses and get comfortable with them. The way one person sells is going to be very different than the way the next person sells. I don't care who you are, you're not going to sell products the same way that I will. We might see eye to eye on 99% of things. You're going to have a bunch of different things you do. Now, exercises. How can I get better? How can I get on a freakish diet of sales growth to where in 5 months I'm just a total stud? It's my first time I've ever done sales. How do I do that? A couple things. Thing number one, sit with a friend. Sit with your mom, sit with your wife, sit with your husband, sit with your boyfriend. I don't care who it is. Sit with them and do mock sales. Do that. The other thing, know your damn product. Go through your product with a fine-tooth comb. You might find something you didn't expect. I remember at one point I was selling bands. I accidentally slammed my hand at the door. Didn't do anything. It was tight. It smashed it a little bit, but a kid's hand, it wouldn't have even touched it. The vehicle wasn't even built for that purpose. It was just a design. I told every single person who had kids after that point in time, go ahead and slam the door on my hand. My fingers would be just back about 2-3 inches, whatever. They'd look at me like I was crazy. Then they would do it. It would be tight, but it wouldn't hurt. And guess what? I told them, that just saved you a hospital bill for your kids. These vehicles are built with your children in mind. You think I sold it or not? Those are little things that, A, nobody else was using. It was a strategy I picked up, I noticed it, and I adapted my approach to that. Product wasn't even built for that to happen, but guess what, man? I noticed it, and it worked, and it was true. And I guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, that one thing right there made people feel way more comfortable with the product than any of the stuff that was in the pamphlet. Study your product, man. Think about it. Think about pitches all day. And spend time when you're doing your mock sales, going through scenarios you're having a hard time. You're sitting with your spouse, man, people keep saying this. Run through it. Get comfortable. The brain is a phenomenal thing. And once you get into that mode, now all of a sudden you're not uncomfortable in that scenario. Find another one you're uncomfortable with. Get rid of that. That's all a great salesperson did, was they got comfortable in all these different scenarios. Just like a great pitcher. Oh man, full count, what am I throwing? 3-0. If I throw a ball, I'm going to walk them. They're not thinking about throwing a ball. It could happen. They're thinking about getting somebody out, baby, man. They're thinking about how am I going to produce the best result. I love it. I'm in a 3-0. Nolan Ryan, guys like that, he might hit you. So that the next batter up winds up having a harder time. But they were in control the entire time. And the only way you get there is by practicing. Another great exercise I love, and I love it, is mystery shopping. No, you're not getting paid to do this, but you're going into places, similar industry, let's say, and you're shopping. You're not going to buy anything. I mean, who knows? Maybe you will. Write down, again, we're going back to our journal, name of salesperson, tactics they used that you liked, tactics you didn't, how good were they? Don't record them, man. A lot of states that's illegal anyway. Just write it down. Go in, be respectful, don't take up 2 hours of their time, try to take up a half an hour, maybe an hour. Go at a time when it's most likely not going to be as busy. I did that just because I didn't want someone doing this crap to me. I'd go somewhere where it's like, okay, they're probably at a spot where it's dead slow. They're sitting around waiting for somebody to come in. Here's the other thing. If I thought they did a great job, I come back to them when I'm ready to buy something, man. I might have had a whole entire section of things where when I'm ready to buy, I'm buying from this guy. No questions asked. It's happened. That'll help you. You're going to pick things up from each person you talk to. When you're in a sales scenario, write down how it went. And go back to these things often. It's like a Bible. You always need to be refining your faith. You always need to go back to it, man. If you want to be genuine, if you want to do the right things, everything there, it's like a Bible. You're constantly reading the Bible, right? You're taking your time trying to make sure that you are on the right path. Same thing with sales. And when somebody, oh, you're a salesman. Yeah, damn straight. And if you love your product, you love the place you work for, do you think that's a problem? No freaking way. No way. And if people have some weird thought in their head of what salespeople are, that's their problem, man. It's not yours. Not today or tomorrow. So you got to get over it. And again, if you can't get over that, you need to change careers because you will not make it. Sales is a confident field, my friend. If you're sitting here and you're worried about, oh man, people look at me like I'm a salesperson. If you're concerned about that, you're not going to make it. I'm sorry. You won't. Too bad, so sad. It's not going to happen. Let me tell you what can happen, though. You can go from that $20,000 a year salary plus commission. And year one, you made 30. Maybe you made 35. To your employer, by the way, and I'm here to say, if you didn't double or triple your salary, they're probably looking at you like you're not going to make the cut. You can look at it and say, hey, I took this job for $20,000 a year plus commission. Now I'm making 40 grand. If that doesn't tell you that you control your own destiny, and if that doesn't excite you, the ability to go out there and flip the script completely and be like, oh yeah, I went from making 20 grand a year in sales if I'd have sold nothing to I'm making 60, 70, 80 now. You're not right for sales. A great salesperson gets excited about commission. They don't fall apart because of it. They're not worried about the slow season, man. Slow season, maybe they're taking a vacation. Slow season, maybe they're taking a little bit of time out to reassess how they're doing. They're definitely not afraid of it. And if they have any kind of financial acumen whatsoever, they're saving their money. Maybe they're making investments that when they're in the slow season, they got something else going on. Don't let anybody ever tell you that it's a bad job or a bad career. If they're telling you that, they can't hack it. Period. They can't do what you can do. Their fear holds them back. I'll be damned if I let fear control me. It's not going to happen. That's a great sales career. It's everything you want it to be. You walk up to a phenomenal salesperson, somebody who's damn good at the job, and if you think they're making nothing, you are wrong, wrong, wrong. You can make $250,000 a year without much trouble in sales if you find the right gig. Turn your nose up to sales and then look at pharmaceutical sales and how well they do. Medical sales. Anything like that. These are phenomenal jobs. And don't forget to work toward your strengths, not your weaknesses. I'm Tom with Commanding Image. It's been a pleasure. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Let's grow our career. Let's grow our lives. Let's do big things.